Hello, everybody, and welcome to my session today, the new model-driven app design experience. I am so excited that you're here. I have to apologize for not being there in person. I truly wanted to be. I was hoping to see you all in person, maybe bring you some delicious Philadelphia area goodies for snacks and treats to keep you all entertained and sugared up for the next 50 minutes. But I hope my virtual presentation will suffice. So today I am really excited to be here to talk to you about the new model-driven app design experience. It was launched in June of 2021, so it's only been around for a few months. And I know that some people are using it and some people aren't. And I thought it would be really interesting to try to devote an entire session at Summit to this new design experience so you can learn it a little better and we can walk through a real life example of how to build an app. So our agenda, first we're going to meet the new designer. Second, we're going to do a feature showdown, talk about which design experience is better for different tasks that you might need to do. We're going to do some demos. So I was hoping I could walk through a brand new app and how to build it, and also how to edit an existing app. And finally, we're going to talk a little bit about roadmap items and things that are coming up in the next couple months. If I haven't met you, hello, it's great to virtually meet you. I'm Heidi Newhauser, and I just thought I'd talk a little bit about myself so we could get to know each other. I'm not quite sure if you can see this chat on this virtual presentation. I can see a chat, but I've attended Community Summit, I think 6 or 7 times, and I don't usually have my computer there. I try to pay attention and listen to what the speaker's telling me. So I know I wouldn't have had access to the chat. But if you do, tell me who you are, where you're from, why you're here, and what you're hoping to learn in our session today, because I'd love to meet you too, even if it is virtually one more year. I work for Reenhanced. We are a Dynamics 365 and Power Platform partner. We do a lot of work implementing and rescuing Dynamics and Power Platform projects. I have spent 11 years loving and working in Microsoft CRM and Dynamics 365 and the Power Platform. I am a runner, I'm a mom, I'm a vegetarian, yay vegetarians, and I'm a wife. And these are just a few pictures of my family. That's my husband and I last time we were at Summit in Orlando, which was awesome. I'm also a Microsoft MVP. I was awarded it earlier this year. So excited about that. I still am. And I am the chair of the Philadelphia Dynamics 365 and Power Platform User Group. I have a link here if you want to come check out our next meeting. We would love to have you. We're staying virtual for a little while, so you are welcome to join us. So we're here today to talk about the app designer for model-driven apps. We have gone from this, drumroll, to this. Come on, animation. There we go. Well, hello, gorgeous. I don't know about you, but when I logged in to make.powerapps.com and I opened up a model-driven app and I saw this, I was like, whoa, what did you do to my app designer? What is this thing? What are you doing? And I had to apply some change management to myself, right? Like I knew that classic design builder like the back of my hand. I taught hundreds of people how to use that app designer. And what is this new thing you're giving me? Oh my gosh, what do I do? It's all different. There's different words. There's different icons. I've never seen it before. Well, don't worry because it's amazing. You take a few minutes if you've been resisting to really dive in, which you're doing because you're here. You're going to learn that this is a far superior design experience for any of you app makers and system administrators. So, with any new design experience, you are sure to encounter one thing. Do you know what that is? This is Microsoft we're talking about. Name changes. Microsoft loves a good name change, and don't we all know it? So let's talk a little bit about our language we are comfortable with in our classic designer and how that translates in this new designer. Because it's all different. It's all new. Nothing's the same. Of course, because things change. Classic designer, we are very familiar with our artifacts, right? Our artifacts are our entities. In the new designer, those are simply called pages. Sitemap, the brain of your whole app that you're building. This is what tells you what's going to go there. Well, there's no sitemap in the new designer. It's called your navigation, which makes sense. Just be aware, sitemap is now navigation. Your entity assets, where we would define our forms and our views, that's part of pages now. And dashboards, they're pages. So really, it's simplified in the new designer. It's very simplified, which is nice once you get comfortable with it. So what does this mean for you, right? That's why we're here. You're the app builder. What does this all mean to you? Well, it means it's a hybrid builder life for now. So what are the improvements with the new designer? There's a lot, and they're really good. And I'm going to dive in and show you all of this. Everything's in one canvas. It's really nice to have your entire app design experience in one place. Not only that, you get an instant preview right on your canvas, including with your data, which is really cool and not something you get to see in the Classic. It is simple and easy to use. It's intuitive once you're familiar with the new language and the new navigation. And finally, you will very soon have the ability to embed Canvas apps directly in your ModelDriven app, which is really neat. Now, I'm not really going to talk about Canvas apps today. I'm going to focus more on your tables or your entities and your dashboards. Now, what are the limitations of the new designer? I mean, I just said 2 slides ago that it's a hybrid builder life, which means you can't do everything you want to do in the new designer, right? So these are a couple things that are going to require you to switch to your Classic designer. In the new app designer, you can't add more than one area to your app's navigation. Now, as a general app design best practice, I'm not a fan of using multiple areas anyway. That's where the users have to toggle at the bottom of the app and change it. But I know a lot of people like that, and a lot of people use it. So if that's you, that's fine. You are more than welcome to do what you need to do to build the apps for your users. If you want to use more than one area when you're designing your app, for now, switch to Classic. Now, this new designer has only been around for, 4 months. There's going to be changes. There will be enhancements. Things from this list we're looking at today will start to fall off. But, as of now, as of October 2021, these are your current limitations of the new app designer. Today, you can't specify your app's URL. You can't change the icon. I love changing the icon. You can't do that today in the new interface. And there are 3 components that are not available at all in that new designer. And those are charts, URLs, so if you want to put in a link to anything, like a custom help page, which is a nice thing to do, you'll have to switch to Classic, and business process flows. So if you're looking to include any of those 3 types of entity assets, you'll have to toggle back to Classic. So let's take a minute here. And we've got our overview slide. So I tried to think of all the tasks that I would normally have to do when building a model-driven app and say who I think the winner is. This is completely subjective. This is my opinion. I build a lot of apps, and this is just my preferences. So who's the winner? The new way, the new designer, or the old way? So let's go through this. Number 1, add a table to your app. New way wins, hands down. It's so much easier to add a table to your app in the new designer. Selecting specific forms and views for your app. I prefer the new way. All on one canvas is a lot easier for me to use as a maker, as a builder, than clicking and going to different screens in the old way. Moving a table to a different part of your app. I'm going to show you how to do this in the new designer. And I think you're going to understand why I say the old way is better. In the old way, I go to my sitemap and I click on it and I drag it to where I want it and I let it go and it stays. That sounds like something pretty simple that you'd expect to replicate in the new version. Sadly, no, and I will show you what it's like. And you will agree with me that the old way is the winner. Preview your app. New way. I can preview my app as I build it. It is seamless. It's very cool too. As we talked about on the prior slide, adding business process flows. It's not possible today the new way, so you'll have to use classic. So old way wins there. Adding URLs, same story. Old way is the only way to do it. Adding charts, old way once again. Create a new app from scratch. I find this infinitely easier using the new design experience. It's really simple. It takes a couple clicks. And really, having everything all in one canvas makes that win. Update an existing app. I put new functionality here. Obviously, you could always update an existing app in Power Apps. However, new functionality for the new way, because you used to only be able to update an existing app using Classic. But recently, new functionality was added, and you can edit it in the new designer, which is cool. So, now we're going to transition to kind of the how-tos of this. If you are new or newer to our new designer in Power Apps, welcome. We're going to teach you how to do certain things. We're going to look at some standard tasks that you'll be using and how to accomplish it. And I've been kind of struggling with how to show you this, right? Like show you on slides and then do a little bit in the app. But I think what I'm going to do is go through the slides first, which wasn't my original intention. And then I'd like to build an app from the start to the finish instead of breaking it up. So apologies if my slides say I'm going to demo when I'm not quite going to demo yet. First up, new vocabulary. Of course, that means new icons, right? There's 3 new icons you need to know, and that's how you're going to navigate around in your app building. The first one here is our page icon. So what it does, it adds a page to your app. A page can be a table-based view and form, a dashboard, or custom. Important to note, we're going to use this area to specify forms and views to display for a particular table. So it's like you're defining your artifacts in the Classic. The second one here is your navigation. You're going to add more groups or areas. And important to note, this is where you're going to update your navigation order. So this is, again, replacing the sitemap from your Classic designer. Finally, we have this new icon for data. I'm not quite sure what this is used for. There are 2 options to see data in your app and data in your environment. So all I've figured out that this does is just display your data real time in the app that you're building. So hopefully that's helpful. And what's really important to remember is that in the new designer, everything is built using pages. So a page is a new thing you're adding to your app. As long as you know that, we're ready to rock and roll and dive into this. So let's talk a little more about pages. A page can be, I talked about this briefly, a table-based view and form, a dashboard, or custom. Custom is preview. Custom is going to be a Canvas app. I don't know what else custom is going to be, but I know you're going to have Canvas app as one of the possibilities. So, how to add and work with pages. So the first thing we're going to do is click the pages icon, which is actually cut off of this screenshot, but I'll show you where it is later. We're going to click Add Page. Third, we're going to select the page type from the list. So that's what this screenshot is showing you right here. The green arrow is showing you what it looks like when you select a table-based view and form. The purple arrow is showing you what it looks like when you select dashboard. And those are the only 2 we're going to go through today. We're not going to touch custom because I'm not a Canvas app builder. I am a model-driven app expert builder, but I am very much a beginner in Canvas apps. Once you have selected all your details, either at your table or at your dashboard, then you're going to click Add. So this is where I'm going to kind of deviate from my slides a little bit. Sorry about that, but we're keeping us on our toes, all of us, right? So first, how to work with a table view and form dashboard. I'm not going to do the demo yet, but I will do it soon. Like we said on the prior slide, you're going to click Add Table View and Form Page. After that, you're going to be presented with a screenshot like you're seeing here on the left-hand side, where you're going to select one or more tables. And I like it has the search there, so you can kind of type in the first few letters instead of scrolling up and down A through Z. Once you've selected all the tables that you want to include in your app, you're going to click Add. And it's as simple as that. Now, How to work with dashboard pages. Obviously, we start the same way. You click the dashboard page option, and then you see a screenshot like this. And in this area, I'm going to select the dashboard or dashboards that I would like to include in my app and click Add. Pretty simple stuff, right? Like I said, it's simple, it's easy to use, and it's intuitive. You just have to get used to the new navigation, the new language, the new vocabulary, and the new icons. How to change navigation. So now we've moved away from that pages icon, and we're in the second one here, navigation. So if I want to change my navigation, I'm going to expand my area and my group. I'm going to click the three dots, the little ellipses that's next to my table. And then I'm going to use the arrows, move up and move down. And when I demo this, I promise you, you're going to be on team old way for this one. But we'll talk about how you can do it here, and then it's up to you where you want to do it. How to edit existing app. Actually, I'm going to come back to that. We're going to add a new app, and then we're going to come back to the slides. I have taken the liberty of already creating a solution file, which is aptly named Amazing Solution File. And that's what we're seeing here. Hopefully you've seen the new Solution Explorer, which you're seeing here. It's got this additional panel, which kind of filters out all the components within my solution file. And you can see I do have an app in here. So I have new as my app. This was just me playing around, grabbing some screenshots for the slide deck that we've seen so far. But within my solution file, what I want to do now is build a new model-driven app. So I'm going to go to New, and I'm going to click the arrow next to App. You can see I can pick Canvas app, model-driven app, or page. I'm going to select model-driven app. Now I'm prompted with this screen. Building a model-driven app from blank. Select your creating experience. It defaults me into Classic App Designer, which is not what I want. I'm going to click Modern App Designer, and you can see it's in preview mode, which is why it has limited functionality right now, and why we're in a hybrid life. Then I'm going to click Create, and I'm prompted to create a name and description. So what are these? This is my front end. And as a user, as an end user, if I have access to more than one app and I'm changing it, it looks like this. So for example, Sales Hub is the name, and the text at the bottom here, which describes what the app is for, is what shows up on my description here. So it's kind of like a tooltip for your app itself. So we're going to call this Summit App Fun. Typing too fast. I spelled Summit wrong. Summit App Fun. This app will bring you smiles at Summit. I don't know if that's true, but we'll try. If you're smiling right now, I have succeeded. All right, click Create. That's going to take a moment. Remember, I'm in a trial environment. They're not always the fastest. And we're doing this demo live right now, so we're at the mercy of the demo gods, which are hopefully going to load my app up. Yes. All right, here's our app, blank canvas. Everything's right here. So I know we talked about all this on the slides, but I want to refresh and show you where everything is. I'm going to hover over this, and I know it's tiny. If I scroll in, it doesn't really change much for you. But the first icon here is Pages. That's where I am now. The next icon is Navigation. And the third icon on the left is Data. So here's where you can see in your app and in your environment. I'm going to go to Pages first, because remember, everything in a model-driven app is controlled by Pages. Pages is a new thing in your app, right? I'm talking a lot with my hands. Imagine if I was there in person. All right, so you got a couple places you can get started, and you can start rocking and rolling with your app building. Right in the center here, start by adding a page. So you can do this, click the button, which is only there for the first one, or click Add Page here under Pages. And this is the screen that hopefully you recognize from the first 19 minutes of this session. Add a page. First thing you do is select your page type. So we'll start here with table-based view and form. And I'm going to go to Next. And that's going to load all of the tables in my database. These are out-of-the-box tables, they are custom tables, they are any tables in your database. And like I said, you can use the search type here. So if I want contact, I can start to type that in and filter through instead of paging through and scrolling down. And let's add lead. Right? And how about we'll add opportunity? We're making this for salespeople apparently. When you're designing your app, by the way, it's always excellent to keep in mind who your user group is, right? It's very important to think, what is this group of users going to be using this app to accomplish, and what areas do I need to add to it? And streamline it as much as you can. Take out as much of the noise as you possibly can, because what you're trying to do is build an app that helps a particular subset of your users to do their job better, quicker, faster. And model-driven apps is one of those great tools that you can use for that. So click add at the bottom when you've finished adding all of your tables. So we have account, contact, lead, opportunity. Now let's say for argument's sake, you've forgotten one. Well, not a problem. You don't have to add them all at once. Simply click add page once more. Go through the same table-based view and form page selection, and I'll add activity. Click add. All right, so now we have these different areas in our app, which is exciting. Here's my real-time view with actual data from my Dynamics database. Also really cool. So you can see how this is such a better experience for you as the maker. Aren't you excited about this? If you have been resisting this, you've got to be a little intrigued now, right? You're going to go back after the session. You're going to open up a trial environment or even your own sandbox and just start going, playing. It's so fun. All right, let's go down to navigation for a moment. And I'm going to show you. So it's already been pre-expanded here. Let's say I want to move my activities to the top of my navigation. Again, you get the real-time view here. This is where I really miss the old functionality where I would just click activities, drag it up here and drop it, and it would just show up there. That's not how you do it here. Like we talked about in the slides, you're going to click the ellipses next to activities, and then we have move up, move down. So I want activities at the top, so I'm going to click move up. Then I'm going to do it again. Click the ellipses and move up. Click the ellipses and move up. Click the ellipses and move up. Does this feel like old CRM 4.0 to anybody else? Click the ellipses and move it up. I'm certain they're going to make this a better user experience, but that's the way it is right now. This is an undefined sub area 1 that's not being used, so I'm going to remove it. I probably did that too quickly. Click on the ellipses next to it. You can always remove something, which is then going to take it off of your app. Now, let's say I want to move accounts down to the bottom. I'm going to click move down. Move down. So you can, you get the idea of how cumbersome it is. It's not difficult. It's just a lot of clicks. We like minimizing our clicks, not maximizing them. So this feels wrong, doesn't it? It feels like they're making us do too many clicks. So I'm sure they're going to clean that up. It just doesn't work very well right now. But that's how you're going to move around and see your navigation change. Oh, another thing I should mention, on the canvas here in the center, you might have noticed at the bottom, it says responsive. If you click this, you can get a preview of exactly what your app is going to look like on desktop, tablet, and phone. Isn't that neat? You always could before just by manually shrinking your window. But if I select tablet, it's going to show me a whole different view of this and show me exactly what it looks like to my users. Likewise, I can select phone, and it shows me what it looks like on the phone, which is great. I'm going to go back to desktop. All right, so we've done a few things here on the app. There's some more things that I want to do. We've added tables, we've moved our navigation, but something we haven't done is define our artifacts using some old lingo. And that is done, if you recall, at the pages. And I'm going to expand my account by clicking on the caret next to the name account. And then we can start to see account form and account view. We're going to start with form. Now, on the right-hand panel, it's going to tell me no forms have been explicitly selected. Scrolling in a bit for you. Ooh, that made my canvas tiny. I'm going to go back out. All forms will be available by default. Now, you are here to design this and build this for your end users. You're here to simplify their journey. Do you want all forms to show up if you're someone that's managing multiple forms and then let your users figure out what to use? Or are you going to show them only the form they need to get their job done? Yeah, you're going to just show them the form that they need because you're streamlining this app for your users. You care about your users. You know that by giving them a nice, clean interface, they're more likely to just go in there, give you the information they need, and then you can use the technology stack of Dynamics 365 and the Power Platform to do amazing wizardry level things, and then they're going to use it, and their managers are going to get beautiful dashboards, and everybody's going to be happy, and it's all because of you building this beautiful app. Also, clearly, I have neglected the #1 rule of presenting virtually, which is lock your animals up before you start presenting. So apologies for the cat if you hear her. Back to your users. Click Manage Forms. This gives you all the forms on that table. This is showing me every form that's in my database for accounts. And I can select any form I want and click Save. Another really cool feature that I like a lot with this app designer is this preview mode. I can't tell you how many times I have forgotten, do I want the info form, the account form? Do I make my changes on the insights form? Which form does my user group need? And then I have to go toggle with the front end experience on one tab and my back end experience on the other. Well, I can just come here and change it and just see which it is and then manage my forms there. So just another little shortcut thing that I enjoy doing. You might like it, you might not like it, but I think it's cool. So that's how we change our forms. We're going to do the same thing with view. So I'm going to click Account View. Just like forms, it defaults to everything on. And I certainly don't want to do that. So I'm going to click on my views here. See how many views my users have? Do they care about accounts that influence deals we've won? Maybe. Do they care about no campaign activities in the last 3 months? That's actually powering a dashboard. So they don't need to use that to filter their views. They just need to see the dashboard. So in instances like that, it's a great opportunity to hide the noise, to streamline their user experience. I keep repeating the users, don't I? Because that's who should be forefront in your mind when you're building your apps, when you're designing things for them. So we click Manage Views. Now I'm going to select my active accounts, and inactive accounts, because I think that's all my users need in this app. We click Save, and then if I click Save up here, kind of refreshes everything I've defined in the app so far and gives me a real-time view here of what's there. So I'm going to continue this. I'm going to expand activity. Now, activity is a little different because there's no main form. So if I come to activity form, I can come through here. It's going to give me a little error because it's an activity. An activity doesn't have one main form. So it's okay. Just close out of that or click OK. And then we're going to go to activity view. And exactly the same thing we did for account, we're going to repeat here. So I'm going to click Manage Views. And these are all my activity views. So I just want to give them things like my activities, my team member activities, my closed activities, and I'm going to click Save. And you can do this for whatever works, right? If you forgot something, you just come back to Manage Views and you just add the ones that you missed. So let me grab some more. Next activity. Cool. Click Save. And if maybe you've added something that you don't want here and you added it by mistake, really easy to remove. Just click those ellipses and remove view. Now you can also, as a little like aside to enhance your productivity and decrease your number of clicks, you can click Edit View, which is going to open a new tab, and then you can make changes to that view, which is pretty fun. All right, so I'm going to collapse account and activity because we've already finished them. Let's go to contact. We want to make sure we're doing this for all the different areas within our app. Again, we're thinking about our users. We don't want them to see all the noise, all the things that were built for different user groups than them, right? Because that can get confusing. And if someone accidentally gets on the wrong form, they can think like, man, you changed all of my CRM because fields aren't where they expect to see them. And then they're upset. And we don't want our users upset. We want our users joyful and happy because you've given them this beautiful design experience. Contact view. This will be the last one I walk through. Don't worry, I won't do this for the next 20 minutes. My active contacts, inactive. So we'll grab our subset of views and click save. All right, so we've done a lot. We've added our tables, we've defined our forms, we've defined our views, we've updated our navigation. Now what we want to do is add a dashboard or two, right? What's an app without a dashboard? So we're going to go to add page. And if you recall, we've gone through this exercise on this app with our table-based view and form. But now we're going to select dashboard. We're going to click next. And that's giving me a list of all system dashboards in my database. So we designed this for sales. So I'm going to grab sales performance. And I'm going to scroll down and sales activity. One of the coolest things of model-driven apps in general is the ability to hide all the dashboard noise. My users and companies I've worked with, their users have been so happy when you just take away all of the dashboards that don't matter to them and just show them the one that does or the two that do. They get so happy. Okay, so here's our real-time view again, and you can see what our navigation says. It's dashboards. That's not what I wanted to say. That's not useful. So they're going to open up this app. They're going to have all these different table names, and that's going to say dashboards and dashboards. No, you're going to fix that. I'm going to click on my dashboard. On the right-hand side, you can see which dashboard selected, which you can change. And then title, dashboards, not what I want for my title. So I'm going to update this to say sales performance. Uh-oh. There's a delay on my typing, sorry. There we go, sales performance dashboard. And then click off of that, and you see a real-time view of what this looks like. So it's going to display as sales performance D ... Well, shoot, that's not what I want. Isn't this cool that it shows you in real time that you have too many characters and nobody's going to be able to read what you wrote? And you can change that before it goes live. So let's call this something else. We'll call this performance dashboard. Awesome. Click off of that, and then we can see it. Dang it, it says performance dashboard. So this is fun because you can just start to see what it should say and what you want it to say. So we'll do perf dashboard. All right, now we're going to go to the other dashboard because again, dashboard is not the most useful thing. And this is my activity dashboard. Awesome. Beautiful. So now we have activities. I can click on this and it's going to show me the activities. Contacts, leads, opportunities, accounts, perf dashboard, and activity dashboard. Sweet. Now, I just added these dashboards so they went to the bottom. But let's say I actually want these dashboards to be at the top of my app navigation because that's what my users want to see first. They organize their day by looking at their dashboard. So to do that, as a reminder, we're going to find the dashboard, click the ellipses next to it, and go to move up. And move up. And we're just going to continue to do this until it's all the way at the top. And you can move your dashboard up, you can move your entities down, however you would like to do this. And while I am finishing this up, I'd like to call your attention to the text that is above perf dashboard right now, which is group 1. So that's actually being displayed on my app. Again, group 1, is that helpful to my users? No, I don't want that. So to change this, I highlight group 1 within this navigation bar, and now I have my title. So we can call it my work, or whatever you want to call it. Click off of it, and then you'll see the update in real time. Now, something we haven't shown yet is how to add additional groups. We're going to click the add button at the top. And remember, you can't add areas. You can only have one area in this design experience. If you want to add multiple areas, you will have to toggle over to your classic designer and add it that way. But I can add a group, which is aptly named New Group. So I'm going to highlight New Group, and I'm going to call this Activities. And click off of it. And I'm going to take my activity dashboard and I'm going to move it down. Now my activity dashboard is showing under activities, and I will take the activities table and I'm also going to move it down. And you're just going to continue this until you move it into that section. So you can see there's a couple things that take more time this way, but the large majority of things in this new interface are enhanced. My speed to do things is decreased. My ability to view my app in real time is amazing. So I think the benefits outweigh the annoyance of clicking these dots and using the arrows. And again, I'm hopeful that that will get better as time goes on. So I feel like we've done a really good job here of doing what we needed to do. We've built a whole app from scratch. We started from nothing. We've added tables. We've added dashboards. We've added multiple groups. We've moved different subgroups around in different groups. We've renamed different subgroups and the different groups themselves. So once you're done everything, just like how we did in Classic, you're going to save, publish. After you publish, all the changes you've configured are going to reflect in this canvas real time. So it's like a pre-play if you want. Or when your publishing is completely done, you can click that play button like you can in the classic version, and then you get to test drive this app. You get to see exactly what it's going to be like, which is always a lot of fun. So now you can see everything that we've configured all here, and you can see what it looks like to our users. So our Summit App O Fun, which is spelled wrong, is done and created and a thing of beauty. And we did that in about, 10 minutes? And half of the time was me showing you how to move things up and down. So we can build an app really quickly in this interface. At the top, we've got a couple things. You can add page. They give you a couple different areas of where to add pages. It's Dynamics, it's Microsoft CRM. They always give you more than one way of accomplishing something. So everything's done by that page. It's kind of reinforcing. Settings. If you click on settings, you can update your app name. Like, let's spell Summit correctly. Take our time. You can update a description, but that's the only thing you can update there. If you want to update things like the image, you're going to have to go to Classic to do that. Okay, so if you can add questions, throw some questions. Otherwise, I'm going to kind of switch gears because I want to show you how to edit an existing app using the new designer. This is newer functionality and it's picky, right? Because by default, it's going to open you in that Classic, but there is a way to open it in the new design experience. So number 1, in your solution file, click apps. So that's where the number 1 is. Click the 3 dots between display name and name columns. This is where the tricky starts. So that's number 2. Number 3, click the arrow next to the edit button. Do not click the edit button. If you click the edit button, it'll open in your Classic Solution Designer. So click the arrow next to edit. And then finally, click edit in preview, and then your new designer will open. So let's go back. And I actually have to go back because I don't want to use this existing app. So bear with me a moment as we go back to our solution file. And what I'm going to do is grab our other app, which is new. There we are. So let me just show you. If I click on new directly, where does that take me? Any guesses as it's loading? Oh, now you know. If I click on that app directly in my solution file in the Maker portal in make.powerapps.com, it's going to open up the classic app designer here, which is fine. It's just something to know. But then look, I can add things like business process flows and charts and custom HTTP sites. But that's not what we want, right? I want to make sure that you know how you can edit an existing app using the new designer. And to do that, click on the 3 ellipses. Don't click edit. It's going to open in the same thing. Click the arrow next to edit or hover, then click edit in preview. Now it's brought us to the new app designer, which is cool. And then you do this exactly like how we walked through before. So right now this one just has count. You can come and add page and start to add different information here, and so on and so forth. You can play around with your navigation and make it exactly as you'd like it to look. And when you're done everything, just like anytime you build an app, it's a save, a publish, and a play if you'd like to see what it looks like. And I should have also mentioned the whole time, you always have the ability to switch to classic. So if you need to get over to that classic mode, you can click switch to classic, save your changes, and then it'll open up that classic design experience. You can add any of the types of assets that you might need to add using classic. You can update your app URL. You can update the tile, so the display of that, all kinds of cool stuff. So hopefully, I know I went through that one quickly. It's just tricky to click the right spots of that, but it gets easier as you move on. So we've got a little more than 5 minutes left, and I definitely want to make sure to talk about roadmap items, because the model-driven app improvements are plentiful. There is a lot coming. So this is Release Wave 2 release notes. There's actually a link in this slide, which I've uploaded to this presentation. So you should be able to access it now or after Summit. So click here and you will see the full app release notes, which I didn't mean to click now, but there's a lot. So this is 2021 Release Plan 2. Things are going to start rolling out in general availability in October, and they'll be dripped out throughout the new year. So you'll be able to see a lot of cool things. And what are those cool things? Well, here's a highlight for you. Canvas apps as pages. So I already mentioned that that's in preview. That's that custom page. Now, I am a model-driven app builder. I enjoy taking Dataverse and building apps on top of it to streamline the user experience, to help people consume Dataverse and Dynamics 365 data. That's where my happy place is. Now, I work with my husband, is the developer. He builds Canvas apps, and I can see all of the capabilities and how he can stretch the boundaries of a model-driven app, of Dataverse, of Dynamics 365 out into like way beyond left field. Like things I could never think about are capable using Canvas apps. So the ability to embed a Canvas app as a page within a model-driven app really takes us to a whole new level. Then we have offline use in model-driven apps. Super helpful for field sales and anyone who maybe travels to areas with connectivity issues. You'll still be able to utilize those model-driven apps, make your changes, and then push all the changes back in real time as soon as you get a connection again. Modern global search. So there's a change coming in global search that's coming this fall or winter. It's all going to move to relevant search, and the actual search itself will move to the center of your app. So right now it's on the right-hand side. It's going to move to center. I know that's a little change, but I feel like any user interface change is something you need to communicate with your users, just to let them know it's coming so they don't get worried when it shows up in a different place. The fourth one here, I'm super excited about. PowerFX for app makers. Like I've said a few times here, I'm not a developer. I don't write code. But you know what I can do is excel the heck out of anything I need to. I am an Excel whiz. I can make Excel do magical things. And PowerFX is the Excel language. So I haven't seen this yet. I don't know what it's going to look like. But in my mind, I'm going to be a lot more dangerous as an app maker because I can speak Excel. So I'm excited to play around with PowerFX for app makers. New column options. So that's coming soon. That'll be cool. And finally, something that some of your users will like, they'll be able to customize columns on a grid, so on a view. They can add, remove, or change column order of a system view. Now, it's temporary. It's limited to your session only. Think of it as functionality. It's really similar to what they can do in filters today, except it's on a system view and they can change the columns. They're going to love it. I have mere minutes left, and I have a slide for questions, but I can't answer your questions. I don't see your questions or your comments. And I'm sorry about that. If you have questions, I have a slide here. Please stay in touch. This is my email address. Connect to me on LinkedIn. This is my phone number. You can reach me on Twitter at CRM Heidi. If you have questions about anything we talked about, please reach out to me. If you need help getting started and you want to set up like a screen share, I'd totally do that. That sounds fun. Additional resources. I actually only have one thing in here, and I don't necessarily know that we need to talk about this. I recorded a video of building a model-driven app in the new Designer from the very beginning to the very end. It's 7 minutes long, and I recorded it in case this didn't work very well. You never know what's going to happen with the live demo. So this was kind of my backup if I couldn't do the demo. But I did, and we did, and we had a wonderful time. Didn't we? We built an app. We edited an existing app. We learned about all this new vocabulary and new navigation and new icons, and how does that relate to what I could do before. We talked about the differences between the classic Designer and the new Designer, why the new Designer is better for certain things and why you need the old Designer for certain other things. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you feel more comfortable now using the ModelDriven App Designer. It's really cool. I think you're going to like it. But at least for the next few months, at least, we're going to be using both. So get used to both. Be comfortable with both. We are CRM unicorns, Power App unicorns. We can do it both ways. And we know how to streamline our user experience to get people using these model-driven apps, which is going to enhance user adoption at your organization. And it's going to make you an absolute rock star app maker. Have an awesome day. Thanks again for attending my session and enjoy